Welcome to Read the Book First. Today we are diving into New Moon by Stephanie Meyer, and to help me uh, talk of all the Twilight stuff is Stephanie has returned. Not Stephanie Meyer, Stephanie, my friend. I had someone ask me if it was actually the Stephanie Meyer, and I was like,
Bye.
yes, for sure. I'm
Me.
I'm that famous and would love to platform this person.
I took a break from being Mormon and wearing my garments to be here on this podcast.
If you've not listened to the Twilight episode with Stephanie last year, go do that because honestly, one of my favorite episodes to record and also to edit. And spoilers abound, as always. This book, I I read this, I think I've only read this one like once when I was like 14 or 15.
Yep, same.
So it's been over 15 years since I read this book.
Yeah, it's the one that I don't ever reach for a reread. So I
Hmm.
think the last time I read it was probably 2010.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this book should stay there in 2010. I mean, at the same time, I had a blast reading this because it's so bad.
I forget sometimes just what I feel like sometimes I have like nostalgic rose-colored glasses when it comes to the series.
Hmm.
And so when I do actually sit down and reread these things, um
Yeah.
there's a lot of sighing on my
Yeah.
end.
Hmm. Culturally, like, people are like, oh, the Twilight books are crap. And like, that's true. But like, it's really true for this one. Like, Twilight is fun. It's not literature with a capital L. New Moon's bad. It's
It's
just,
it's pretentious and
hmm.
it's trying to be something that it's not,
Hmm.
and it just hurt every part of my body
Hmm.
in a lot of chapters. Like I physically cringed.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was, trying to find some like fun facts about the book, there weren't that many fun ones because the book's not fun. I mean, in the positive fun way, in the negative fun way, very fun. But when Stephanie Meyer was writing these books, she wrote three different epilogues, 100 pages each, which all happened after Bella graduated high school. And that includes The Forever Dawn, which eventually turned into Breaking Dawn. I was reading this on her website, and I will link that below. It is her describing how she wrote this book is hilarious. Um, it's like, oh, what happened, during her last year of high school? I'm gonna go back and read and figure that out. And that's how she backtracks. Like she does so much backtracking in her writing. Like she did that in Twilight as well, right? And there was that chunk of Twilight I remember we didn't like was the part that she went to go fill in.
I also think part of the problem, not to get too far ahead, but part of the problem with this one is, isn't this what she was writing when the first movie was in production? So, like, she started seeing the books as movies at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's very clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's very clear that this was meant for theatrical release.
Absolutely. And you can tell the writing style is just, and I think it's that combo of her knowing this is going to be a movie with her backtracking to this chunk of period that she's not written anything from. Because like parts of Eclipse and Breaking Dawn had some stuff she'd written pre-Twilight becoming a movie, right? So there's like her like actual original ideas or something in there. Whereas this is that weird combo of backtracking and filling in the weird plot holes, but also trying to make this cool for a movie one day. And it just doesn't work at all.
Questions and plot holes and just and straight up disrespectful in a lot of areas in this book.
Hmm. Yeah.
Painful.
It is. It's a very painful read. It's a very angsty read. And like in that blog post she writes about how she wrote this book, the way she talks about Edward speaking to her, hilarious. She's like, and I was like, Edward was trying to tell me something that I didn't want to hear. And I thought, no, Edward, no. And I'm like, girl, you're in charge of this.
A big age. She was like a mother at this
Uh-huh.
point. Like
Uh-huh.
she was not, it would make sense if she was like, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
But at your big age writing this and saying that this
Hmm.
man spoke to you. Come on.
Hmm. So she's trying to make this um Romeo and Juliet-esque Twilight is supposed to be like Pride and Prejudice-esque. This is trying to be Romeo and Juliet, specifically the part about what happens when your true love leaves and or dies. So like only a certain part of Romeo and Juliet, right? None of the romance part.
No,
Yeah. Just
no.
the sad, yeah.
I picked up on that a lot, especially because I really do think this is the first time I've read it since reading Romeo and Juliet in high school. I think that when I first read this, I was, yeah, like maybe seventh, eighth grade. I had not read Romeo and
Hmm.
Juliet. And so I didn't know like the actual story. I knew like what we know as kids of Romeo and Juliet. So when I first read this, I was like, oh my God, she's so smart. Like the parallels, this is making perfect sense. And now that I have an education and a fully developed brain,
Yeah.
it's not, it's just not doing it.
Yeah. It's so bad. And like from the beginning, like we have the preface where she's already angsty and she's running through the woods or running not through the woods, just running. And she's like, I don't even care if I die. Like that's how we start, is her not
Yeah.
caring how she dies or if she dies. And that's the very first. Oh, also, content warnings, check them below because there's going to be stuff later because this book, again, wild. Yeah. And then the creepy dream, which I think this is so like her seeing her grandma, then realizing it's herself, and then seeing 17-year-old Edward. It's so creepy and it's such a nightmare. But also, this is the part where immediately I was like, Stephanie Meyer is writing for the film.
I
Like,
was just gonna say that when I think about her writing this book for the film, this is the first scene that comes to mind because
hmm
unless you have seen the film, like when I was reading, I read this obviously before the movie came out. Um, it was really hard for me to envision what was happening in this scene
hmm
unless you have actually seen that play out on the screen. It's kind of jumbled and weird and like makes you nervous for some reason, but you don't know why. It's like this needed to be strictly in the film, not in the book.
And it's such a weird beginning going from her like, I don't care if I die to this like fear of growing up. And I'm like, these two ideas are really weird to have, right? Because the fear of growing up in this way, it's obviously we know it's because of Edward being forever 17 physically. But like growing up also means death. And so, but also not caring if you die. It's just like, which one are you choosing, Bella? Yeah.
It's and it's a lot of like I feel like this is a lot of self-hatred within Bella. This is not necessarily a I mean it does have a lot to do with Edward being so much older, but also not aging at the same time, like best of both worlds,
hmm
creepy, stuck in that, body and headspace forever. But how she looks when she's older. She said something like she really focused in on Gran's wrinkles and like
hmm
she is so scared of like physically getting older. That's her nightmare.
hmm Yeah, and I think this is like our first in this one, in this new moon, our first little Mormon propaganda bit because like, in Mormon conservative culture, a woman's job is to have babies and be a mother. But you're only desirable when you're young, right? It's the whole like maid versus matron sort of thing that lots of parts of the world issue with, obviously. But I'm like, this is the first bit. I'm like, oh, this is Mormon propaganda because if I'm over the age of 22, how am I gonna have 20,000 babies for the 17-year-old vampire I love?
And you're a spinster, honestly, at that
hmm
point. And
hmm
you might as well just go and crawl back into your hole forever.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's just Bella's headspace throughout this whole book is just like obviously we talked
I'm
about in
trying to
Twilight
find.
that she needs to be in therapy, but in this book, she like just needs to be in like critical therapy.
There was a lot when I was reading Twilight, there was a lot of parts where I, as an almost 30-year-old woman now, felt bad for Bella.
hmm
And in New Moon, I have just found myself, I think I texted you this the whole time in my head. I'm going, girl, shut up.
hmm
Like, you're creating most of your own problems here. Just shut up.
Mm-hmm.
She's almost like insufferable in this one. She's a little boring in Twilight, but I think there was a reason for that. She's like insufferable in this book.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Because she bounces from being helpless, right? So the first half of the book, right, they have the birthday party, they have the breakup, dumping scene, and then we have the classic October, November, December, like page flips, which every time I think is hilarious. Just as an author being like, what if I didn't write for months and I just wrote the month names?
But it's deep.
So deep. And then she goes from bouncing from, that like just so depressed to like bouncing to like the adrenaline pick me girl with Jacob, like later on in the book. And
Hmm.
I feel like obviously this book is dealing with grief. I think it's a great example of how to not deal with grief in a good and healthy way. But so like part of me wants to be like, oh, she's grieving, but I'm like, also the steps she's doing during her grieving is not like it's extreme.
And it's actively hurting those around her.
Hmm.
Whether they're super close to her or not, people are getting
Hmm.
hurt. And like, yeah, grief, it looks different for everybody. But I feel like when it comes to a point where those around you are being hurt, whether it's someone like
Hmm.
Charlie who's being devastated or like
Hmm.
Jessica who's just being ignored, like at some point something needs to change.
Yes. Yeah. Um, Not to like bounce around, but the birthday scene um is so funny to me. Like the idea of these vampires trying to celebrate a human's birthday without the context of Twilight is just a hilarious SNL sketch.
Yeah. But then on the other side of that, she's so mean about it.
Yes.
Like these poor little vampires, I'm so happy to throw you a birthday because they don't get to do that. And you're straight up being mean. Like you have to be reminded to be nice. That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, if I was a birthday, if I was a vampire, I feel like I would for sure have like birthday celebrations every year still, but I'm also like a birthday month kind of person.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I would definitely like everybody in my family or coven or whatever would be getting
mhm.
a birthday party. Even if they didn't know their birthday, they would get to pick it
Yeah.
and we're going all out.
Yeah. Because what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, but imagine trying to throw a birthday party for Edward Cullen. Um, you would just you hate everything always. I guess also you
Yeah.
couldn't surprise them anyway. I didn't think about that part. I'm just thinking his straight up like attitude.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what, you don't like it? Because he'd be like, thanks. I need some more enthusiasm there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Poor Alice. She's really carrying them all throughout the whole
She just needs
series.
to come.
Yeah.
She's trying so hard. I feel
Hmm.
like Esme tries too, though, but
Yeah.
trying to care for these melodramatic men, it just sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you have to hunt deer. No, forget it.
Oh my gosh, we would never survive in a hunter-gatherer society.
No, no, I'm not. I can't do it. I just ordered bandanas for my porch goose. I am not hunting deer
I want a
to
porch goose
survive.
so bad.
But yeah, what vampire has a porch goose? None. I'm not cut out for it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's very fair. Also, in the beginning, before the dumping, as I'm referring to it in my head, we find out we find out so much. We find out how mentally unwell Edward is from his own mouth here. Where obviously we're assuming from his actions in Twilight, but in here we like hear him literally be jealous of the ease of suicide for humans.
That is something that when I read it again as a preteen, I was like, he would do that for Bella. And then now I'm
Hmm.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, and we've got other examples in other books
Hmm.
of his like narcissistic behavior that we can touch on later in
Hmm.
other books. But I feel like this is the first real glimpse we get into that narcissism.
Hmm. Yeah, and like obviously in the where we are in the Twilight, world, we have read Midnight Sun, which is Twilight from Edward's point of view. And if you want to have a really bad
Mhm.
time and just be like, why am I doing this to myself? Go read that book because it is miserable. But in the same blog post that Stephanie Meyer wrote about writing this book, she references his Midnight Sun that's not published yet. I think it's been leaked at least a little bit at this point,
Mhm.
but she talks about like we get glimpses of Edward's psyche and New Moon at the beginning. But if you want the full out, one day I hope you guys can read Midnight Sun. And I'm like, girl, don't be promoting this crappy book. Uh,
Yeah, because well, that's kind of what I was alluding to, is because like in Twilight, you get kind of instances where it's like, is he being a piece of shit here? And then Midnight Sun, you're like, yeah, he's being a
yeah.
piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bella gets a paperclip, Jasper goes berserk, and then Edward breaks a TV also. Um, and
warming out for the TV.
yeah. But Stephanie Meyer mentioned it like 3 times in that blog post that he broke the TV. And I was like, girl, no one cares that he broke a 60-inch TV. We know that they're rich. Like,
I know, I was gonna say, was this during the time when TVs were really expensive? Because they used
I
to be like,
bet. Yeah. So Edward's choices of taking Bella out to the middle of the woods to dump her.
knowing she smells really good to predators,
Hmm.
has a shit sense of direction,
Hmm.
is
Is
new,
klutzy.
is klutzy, is new in town.
Hmm. Hmm.
I like do it for the plot, I guess.
But like, why in the woods?
Also, what if like a neighbor's watching and it's like Bella's missing and I watched her go into the woods with Edward Cullen?
Hmm.
Like, you're not doing a good job covering your tracks there.
And it'd be different if he didn't have access to her house, but he does. He has like Charlie doesn't know he's there all the time. So like you could have just like waited till the
Bella
night when
doesn't
he
know he's
like
there.
I think at this point she does, doesn't she know that he like
Yeah, but
sleeps there?
at one point, no
Yeah.
one knew he was there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's normal behavior. Just watching someone sleep without them knowing.
We do it all the time.
Well, yeah, if you're a mom, he knows you're there.
I'm just like staring at him constantly. I'll have to send you the picture I got of him on the baby monitor last night. Anyway, um, yeah, that's a wild decision. And again, I think it was a decision made for the movie
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
because this is not canon Edward overthinker, overprotector.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so then he dumps her and also steals all the pictures of him with her and any, like, essentially takes away any trace of him in her, like, little
Yeah,
scrapbook that she only makes to make her mom happy. Girl.
yeah. Hey, let's make her feel more crazy. You
Hmm.
already know she's
Hmm.
unstable. You know what will really do it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Make it look like I was never there. The craziest part about all of this is that once he leaves and she realizes that she's lost, she just goes to sleep on the ground. Like it's not like she hits her head and like falls or
Yeah.
anything. She actively makes the decision to just lay down. And you know me, I have not been to the Pacific Northwest. But I have a feeling there's a lot of bugs in that soil.
Yeah, it's also
That,
probably wet.
oh my God, wet clothes on purpose?
Hmm.
That's psychotic. I think that's the most unforgivable thing that she has done in this book is to lay on a wet ground with bugs on purpose.
And it'd be different if she, like, grew up in the Pacific Northwest because I'm not gonna lie, I'd sleep on the ground in the forest. I mean, it'd be dumb, but I would do it if I was tired enough, like on a hike or something. But like, I also know how to not get lost and pack shit. But I grew up playing in the rainforest, where she grew up in Phoenix. That girl's never seen rain before.
No.
So
But
yeah,
even then,
it's
she's got scorpions on her ground. She knows not to do that.
yeah. Page 74 is where we first see the phrase new moon, and I had to make a note of it. because, they said the title.
Oh, they did the thing.
Yeah, they did the thing. So, I made a big note about it in my notes. I thought it was going to be more impactful, but it's just describing the new moon in the sky.
Sure shit, it's right there. But it is
Hmm.
also where Bella gets found on
Yes.
that page by Sam Yulee.
Hmm. Oh, yes. Yeah. So then she gets found, she gets taken back, and we have the whole depressive months. Very hilarious again. I just find it hilarious. Um, and then the next like chunk of the book where she slowly starts to like come back, it's also just this book, each chunk, so the first chunk, which is the beginning until the dumping, feels like one part of the book. And then we have from the months, the blank months pages to when Alice comes back as another book. And then from when Alice
Mhm.
comes back to the end is a third book, different from the very first book.
Yes.
And I think that's another reason why this book is just so weird and bad. It's just like there's no flow.
That's also, and again, not to get ahead, but that's also the reason I don't particularly enjoy rereading Breaking Dawn is because it is split up into Bella, Jacob, Bella. And I don't
Hmm.
really like books that do that chunking.
Hmm. We talked about a lot in the Twilight episode about how much of a bad friend Bella is. And this book is her following those same actions. Like she suddenly decides to talk to her friends who she's not talked to for 4 months. In high school, if I had a
Mhm.
friend who stopped talking to me for 4 months, I too would treat her like Jessica treats her.
I literally can think of two people off the top of my head that one day stopped talking to me in high school. And here I am almost 30 and I have not spoken to them since.
Hmm.
There's no reasoning, no whatever. Like I fully didn't we say this in the first one? Justice for Jessica. She is being
Yes.
a teenage girl in a
Hmm.
normal way.
Hmm.
But Bella has so much internalized misogyny that we see her and Lauren, we don't see Lauren in the movies, but we see her in
Nope.
the books as a villain
Hmm.
when really like what Lauren gave you a dirty look. Okay,
Hmm.
girl. Move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Um, they have the like girls' movie night where Bella leaves the movie and starts going towards the creepy men at the like dive bar. And we hear the first bit of a voice. It's unnamed at this point. It's on page
Oh,
118.
we gotta take a deep breath for when we get into the hallucinations. Also, pause. Justice for Charlie in this book.
We love Charlie. Like again, we said last time. ACAB, but Charlie.
Yes, but Charlie, honest to God, he is trying so hard and he has
Hmm.
been given so little.
Yes.
And nothing he does is right, except it is right. Bella just sucks.
Yeah.
He he cuddles her when she's got her night terrors.
Hmm.
He tries to send her to Florida for some sun. I'm not leaving. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, he left you, so you can leave. It's fine. Like
Yeah.
he tries so hard, and I feel
Mhm.
so bad for him with every page.
I wonder too if he sees himself in Bella's like depressedness because when Renee left him, he also like it's like referred to that he like kind of like shuts down. That's why
Mhm.
he's still in the same house in the same town, right? And I wonder, maybe this is deeper than Stephanie Meyer ever thought, but like I wonder if he's like, trying to like
Break that
treat
cycle.
her like he needed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
curtains
poor
were
Charlie.
just blue. What's that saying with AP Lit?
Yeah. They're just blue, man.
I don't know, man.
Bella finds the two motorcycles and decides that she's going to get them fixed because she's less depressed at this point, as in she's like able to have conscious thoughts, not a zombie. And she is like, what if I do dangerous things, like to try and hear this voice? And then she's like, oh, who fixes things? Oh, Jacob. Um, I find Jacob so annoying in this book, but I don't think it's like I feel bad for him at the same time because on that same blog post about writing this book, Stephanie Myers like deliberately says, "Yeah, Jacob and Twilight was just a device." She literally says, "Yeah, the quileute myths of the wolves and Jacob in book one were just devices. It wasn't until I was writing this
Hmm.
that I'd have thought to like use more of it. And I'm like, girl, don't admit that this is just a device and then you are going to use it more. Like this is you're just digging a bigger hole. Just more and
Yeah.
more problematic.
The most divisive um plot point in your entire book series, and you're admitting it was kind of like
Hmm
you just stumbled into it. It was just a little,
hmm
oh, maybe
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
And she's like, and she writes in there, it's like this blog post is ridiculous. I don't know why it's still on her public page because she's like, yeah, I had no knowledge of their myths and stuff. And like they had no Cold One myths. And so I was like, well, they came from wolves. So therefore, like, hey, it fits what I need. And so I took it, but I have very little knowledge, literally, is what she says. And it obviously, we talked about this in the Twilight episode. Very bad. Don't steal from indigenous cultures without explicit permission from like the leaders of whatever tribe. Also, just don't do it. Maybe, pay someone else from that tribe to write the story. It's just so bad. And then every time she describes Jacob, she uses the word russet.
Rust. Rust.
She's like,
I
russet
noticed it.
skin. And I'm like, russet like a potato?
Russet. Yeah, like intriguing and dark.
I
And the total
like
opposite of the marble of Edward.
Uh-huh. And I'm like, I've never heard that word used outside of potato. And I wonder if it has like bad kind of, well, I mean, it sounds bad coming from
Hold
Stephanie Meyer. It
on.
doesn't matter what she meant. It just says it refers to reddish brown.
Russet as an adjective. It would help if I spelled russet right. No one look at me. I'm a teacher. Yeah, reddish brown. Maybe that's why the potato is called that.
Yeah. But I've never
The term
used it
also has
outside of
historical
that.
connotations referring to a coarse reddish brown wool cloth. It's giving fetish.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everything when she describes Jacob, his personality is purely just immature, but his looks, he
hmm
looks like he's 30
hmm
and he looks so russet and becomes ripped and tall and like, but his personality is just immature.
Yeah.
And like that's all we get.
hmm This whole part where Bella and Jacob are fixing the motorcycles and learning how to ride that, and she's learning about his friendships and like folks on the res and like their like culture. Stephanie Meyer is trying so hard to get us to understand that Bella's falling in love with him in some like weird, almost not platonic, but not platonic way. And it's so
Mhm.
unconvincing the whole time.
Yeah, the wording is very much like something's happening between them, but then she'll immediately strike it down with like a thought or something where Bella is like, I can't.
hmm
Um, it makes me think of Edward, the last time I was in love. Like, I feel like, and okay, this is gonna be a hot take as someone who has been Team Edward since 2006.
hmm
I feel like if Bella would have relaxed a little bit, Jacob actually could have been a very good partner for her at this point in her life.
Yeah. I think I agree. As someone who is also Team Edward in the way that I am Team Robert Pattinson. Um,
Yeah.
I think 16, 17-year-old uh Bella needs a boyfriend like Jacob for like a year or two.
Yeah.
Just
Someone somewhat normal and
yeah.
still a little narcissistic for sure, especially later on. But like,
hmm
I mean, he's not so bad. He's still not good at all. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like, she didn't need to push him away like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says right here, his jaw squared off, all childish roundness gone. Like, just very like everything about him is childish.
hmm it's so weird because like it gets almost interesting and then Bella talks, like when we find out about like the other characters on the res and how they interact and it's like almost interesting and then Bella's
Hmm.
there and I'm like, girl, you're ruining the vibe.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
invited you?
hmm
Because there's actually a really nice, or not nice, but like a really interesting story here.
like they're getting closer and closer, and Bella like keeps describing her friendship, and then eventually they have that awkward like um movie night with Mike Newton, and where Mike gets like sick because of all the the grossness of the horror movie.
Oh my God.
And it's like my notes, I just wrote in the margin cringe, like constantly. Like,
Everything about this
mhm.
hurts, and I cannot wait to talk about this when we do the movie episode.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for the movie. Um, so like when they're at the movie and Jacob and Bella are waiting for Mike and he's like walking towards them, Jacob says, "Is that the one who thought you were his girlfriend? Is he still confused?" At Mike. And Bella says, "Some people are hard to discourage." Jacob says, "Then again, sometimes persistence pays off."
Yep, there we go. And he ruins
Uh-huh.
it all.
Yeah. Okay, this part on page 218 and 219, she's like talking in her head about Jacob and like the weird like friendship, but like also could be more. But she says, "How I wish that Jacob Black had been born my brother, my flesh and blood brother, so I'd have a legitimate claim on him that still let me free of any blame now." And then she says to herself, "I had never meant to love him. Knew it in the pit of my stomach, in the center of my bones, knew it for the crown of my head, to the sole of my feet, knew the deep of my chest was how love gave someone the power to break you. And I've been broken beyond repair. I need Jacob now, needed him like a drug." And then she's like, "Now I could have bared it for him to be hurt, and I couldn't keep from hurting him either. He was my best friend, and I would always love him." I'm like, girl, pick a lane. Here you are saying, "I wish he was my brother. I wish I love him so deeply, and I don't want to hurt him, but I will always love him." And I'm like, this is so creepy. And this is where I wrote just Mormonism. Just like, what is this?
Section one is, and it's not that deep. It
No.
is never that serious, girl.
Mm-mm.
You are not, I want to say you're not the main character. Technically, yes, right now you are. But in this situation, it is not that deep. This part right here, where you first started reading on 218, where she was
Hmm.
talking about like her flesh and blood, I feel
Yes.
like that's a little bit of a nod to the imprinting that's to come.
Hmm.
Because he even calls back to that later about like, remember how you felt like needed me? Like, so she's starting to set us up for some absolute fuck shit
Yep.
2 books in advance.
Uh-huh. And I'm so excited to eventually get there. Like, as I was reading New Moon, I was like, this is horrible. But in my brain, I'm like, but just wait until we can watch Breaking Dawn Part 2. This is what I'm
It's,
doing it for.
it's so much.
And Isaac has only seen Twilight. He's not seen any of the other ones. So I can't wait to force him to watch it. That's gonna be.
Had I had Chad watch them within the last year. We sat down
Hmm.
every night and watched one. And he I should have written down like what he said, but his like consensus was like Team Charlie. He loves Charlie.
Yeah. Charlie's the best. Good taste. Yeah. He likes the Mariners. He drinks Rainier. He's my Seattle guy. Um,
I also really love in this section where I like at the movie scene,
mhm.
or at the movie theater. And I thought this only happened in the movie, so I giggled when it happened in the book. Jacob calls Mike a marshmallow.
Mhm.
I thought that was just like some Taylor Lautner improv. But no, he truly calls him a marshmallow, and I think that's
Yeah. It's
hilarious.
hilarious. And they do the like the armrest thing too in the book where
Yeah.
they're both like holding their hands. And I was
Out of
like,
all the scenes to like stick to the book,
honestly, the movie theater scene is probably the
wild.
best chapter in this section, I'd say.
It
Until
is,
the
and I
fr
think it's the like
yeah.
in the movie they do like the closest like job
Hmm.
of keeping it true, which is a wild scene to pick for that. There's other scenes that could have been more accurate for sure.
Yeah. 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 And then after the movie theater weird like friendship debacle thing, Jacob gets the flu. which we later find out is he's going through his werewolf puberty. The werewolves stuff, like all the problematic stuff aside, which barely being able to put that aside, but the men having to go through essentially puberty is just gives me so much joy.
Yeah.
Like they're getting their periods in that they turn into werewolf beings. Um, and they suddenly have
And
to
it's a
rely on
super
each other.
emotional, yeah, it's a very emotional puberty with a lot of hot
Hmm.
flashes
Hmm.
and it's nice. It's nice to
Yes.
see that.
Yeah. I really like that. Bella also at this point is like trying to find the meadow that Edward would take her to, and she eventually does find it, and then Laurent shows up again and is like almost about to kill her because he's working with Victoria again, which like this plot is interesting only because Eclipse exists because it actually has some like good substance in Eclipse, but it's out of the blue. We're like, oh yeah, this book's about vampires. We forgot. We've been spending so much time with Jacob and the rest of them. But also like last time we saw Laurent, he was going to hang out with Denali with the vegetarian vampires. And so just him
Mhm.
showing up just so that we get reminded of Victoria and just so he dies on that same chapter. Like again, here we are using another character just as a device. And it just shows how bad Stephanie Meyer is at writing.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, by the way,
Yeah.
the book got a little boring for a second. Here's another vampire.
Hmm.
And then he's gone.
And
Didn't
he's
they
gone. And
also,
there's giant wolves.
yeah, well, that was definitely a device to bring in Bella seeing the wolves in person.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
Laurent made a call back to James knowing Alice in this part.
Yes.
Um, because and they don't talk about it in the Twilight movie, but in the Twilight book, you find out that Alice was James was not Muse, but like what Bella is to Edward. That's how Alice
Hmm.
smelled to James as a human.
Hmm.
And then I thought that was a nice little nod because I love that storyline. Hello, like, and so anytime we get to see more about that, and unfortunately we don't get to see that often, I get so happy when we get to like get a little glimpse into like her being in the asylum and her human
Yeah.
years and like
And it's there again, Stephanie Meyer just like waving from across the road at a really cool story idea that she never follows through with.
it's like mind blowing. And
Hmm.
especially like when you tell people who have only seen the movie that that story exists, they're like, what? They're stunned because that's
Hmm.
actually a really storyline. And then we just lose it and it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Bella eventually remembers the whole werewolf story, so that was like Jacob's whole workaround to not being able to tell the tell her directly. Could we talk about the werewolf pack mindset? Because I think this is another example of like toxic Mormon culture seeping into these books. Because obviously Edward is obsessed with reading people's minds because that's his power. I mean, not obsessed. I'm sorry. He can't help it, right? And so no
Mhm.
privacy there. But with the werewolves, it's no privacy there. And like that's, for the pack mindset, I get that they can like talk to each other telepathically. I think that would have been fine and like that makes sense in this weird werewolf magic world. But them always knowing what each other are thinking means that there's no thoughts, or like there's no privacy. There's no like if you're teenage boys, they can't have any of those
Mhm.
teenage boy thoughts. So that's purity culture right there. Like, don't say anything
Mhm.
because I'm gonna know.
Especially when Leah eventually joins.
Yes. Yeah. And then they have to like report to San, which is like I get the alpha, whatever, werewolf, that I get, but that mixed with the like 24/7 mind sharing thing, hive mind of it all, is very like someone's watching you, you have to report to the deacon or whatever, and you have to tell them every single sexual thought you've ever had because the Mormons have to do that before they get married.
Yeah.
Creepy. And I just like rereading this, I was like, this is so bad. These poor teenage boys.
And I think it's more so like a projection. Like, I don't think Stephanie Meyer was trying to do a commentary on
Oh, definitely
Mormon
not.
culture. I think she was actually trying to say something about tribes, but she ended up projecting her Mormonism onto the
Hmm.
tribe, which is funny you bring it up because if you go to the copyright page, there's a
Hmm.
summary of the, I don't know if you've
There's
read
this,
the summary.
I don't think I have.
It says, when the Cullens, including her beloved Edward, leap forks rather than risk revealing that they are vampires, it is almost too much for 18-year-old Bella to bear, but she finds solace in her friend Jacob until he is drawn into a cult and changes in terrible ways. Hey, his tribe did what it historically does. And it didn't even do what it historically does because you didn't research the tribe, an actual existing tribe, and you dare label it a cult and terrible. You made it up.
Hmm. She made it up, and
That's
also it's not like they
wild.
chose to be wolves. It's when these white vampires come up and fuck up their land that then their biology is like, hey, we're gonna protect our land as they should.
Yeah.
And so, like, even in this made up, butchered version of this culture that she stole, it's still the white people's fault. But she doesn't get that. I 100% agree.
And
She,
yeah,
uh,
it summarizes it. Literally, chapter 11 is called Cult.
yep.
And then for her to sit there and be so upset at this cult where it's very exclusive and they can't tell people their secrets when literally, hey, what were the Cullens doing?
Hmm.
People couldn't
Yeah.
sit with them at lunch, couldn't tell their secrets, like couldn't socialize.
They're rich.
Jacob says, am I not the right kind of monster for you? Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, the only difference is that one is a very white family and one is a tribe.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's the audacity Stephanie Meyer has, but also the like cluelessness of how every time she's trying to like make something cool and pretentious and witty, it's just like, oh, you are from a Mormon culture because this is just like you can't write without this impacting every single little thing. And it appears way more than I thought it does in this book versus like Twilight, like, yeah, we joked about the like the khaki skirt of it all, right? And then
Oh my God, the khaki skirt.
right? But like this one, it's just like it's her deep-seated like bias and un no knowledge of the world outside of her religion is
Yeah.
like affecting each part of it, and it just is infuriating.
Did
Yeah,
you have a lot of Mormons around you, like in Alaska? And okay, because when I lived in Las Vegas is a hotbed.
big
Um,
Mormon. Yeah.
and a lot of my friends, most of my friends were Mormon.
Hmm.
I guess I just lived in a very like Mormon area.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember when these books were coming out, it was very divisive. A lot of my friends' parents would not let them read it because it was supernatural, but a lot of my friends' parents would let them read it
Hmm.
because they specifically said it was pro purity, like they weren't having sex till marriage. So
Hmm.
even though it was supernatural, my Mormon friends were still allowed to read it because I didn't see it as propaganda. I didn't know what that was at the time, but
Hmm.
literally their parents were admitting that like this is
Hmm.
propaganda for performance.
Yeah. No, a lot of my friends had the same, like my Mormon friends had the same kind of thing. Like the ones that were really strict and had like their parents are higher up in the church couldn't read it, but the other ones could, you know. And it's just, especially this book, because this is the most time we spend with the Jacob and everyone on the reservation. But like it really, unlike we're joking about the how they describe Jacob as russet, but in Mormon culture, it is like it's a thing where people who are not white are not going to get certain levels of heaven. Like it is ingrained in the Mormon doctrine. When they introduce Emily, the way that they describe her is like um very like the stereotype of like the quote Indian princess stereotype that like any white piece of media has used forever. So it's problematic in that way. And also, she is the only Indigenous woman at this point. We like referenced to Leah, but we don't know her yet in this book. So she's the only Indigenous woman character, and she
Mhm.
is a very visual example of domestic violence, and it is hidden under, oh, Sam lost control when he was in his werewolf form, so it wasn't domestic violence. But I'm like, the stereotype of Indigenous people dealing with domestic violence and women especially, like, the missing and murdered Indigenous women is a huge epidemic and awful thing, but the stereotypes that Stephanie is using from that here on top of all the Mormon bullshit. It's so awful.
And also
Yeah.
Emily's like only like all she really does as a character is one, serve to show how volatile werewolves can be.
Hmm.
But two, she just cooks and provides for the pack.
Yeah, that's all she
Like
does.
she just takes care of the boys.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't know anything else really about her unless I missed something, and I might have. It's,
She's
but
there
there's
for like
really,
2 paragraphs.
yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. The werewolf chunk kind of like wraps up. They're chasing and tracking Victoria, the wolves. Bella's cool with all them now, um, and like getting used to being a part of them. And then she gets home one day and Alice is at her house. And all the colons have been like no communication. Emails aren't being sent all the way through. Like there's absolutely no communication here. And Bella immediately turns back into Bella from Twilight. Like she does two different characters. Bella, like with the Jacob, once she is like, a part of the pack, at least friendship wise, and Bella from Twilight are like two different characters, and she goes right back to that one. And it's just so painful because like we had to spend all this time of seeing her become less and less depressed and um panicky, but also it's a different character. Oh, we forgot about the whole cliff jumping stuff.
I
That's
was gonna
important.
say, can we talk about why Alice is back?
Yeah, that's important. I just like forgot
That's
about that part.
huge.
Yes. Yes.
That chapter, what chapter is that? Okay, that's Alice right there in Visitor. So it's chapter
15,
16, 15,
16.
16, around there. Where is it? Okay. Yeah. So there's this whole thing where Bella's like adamant, I'm not trying to kill myself. I wasn't trying to kill myself. I'm not suicidal. Um, But she literally says on 361, my ears were flooded with the freezing water, but his voice was clearer than ever. I ignored his words and concentrated on the sound of his voice. Why would I fight when I was so happy where I was? Even as my lungs burned for more air and my legs cramped in the icy cold, I was content. I'd forgotten what real happiness felt like. And then she said, happiness. It made the whole dying thing pretty bearable. And her last thought was goodbye, I love you, towards Edward. She was in that water. Now she might not have jumped in with the intention
Hmm.
of doing that, but this is literally her thought process of, well, I guess I'm dying. At least I got to hear Edward.
Hmm.
And she's adamant that she's fine. Why would you jump to conclusions? Of course I wasn't trying to kill myself, but like, baby girl, you got to see it from our perspective. We just watched you. We just went through 5 pages of just months because you went mute. You literally said you never resurfaced. And then now you're jumping off of cliffs when nobody is with you and the water's choppy. Like,
Yeah.
hello?
Yeah, and that ocean is freezing year round. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. And it's I yeah, by this point she's naming the voice that she's hearing as Edward because we haven't really talked much about the hallucinations, but she's doing all these like extreme adrenaline chasing things so that she can hear a voice tell her to stop or to not do it. Like she's fully hallucinating, you know? And
Yeah.
her just fully hallucinating, like ending up in the ER trying to hear this voice multiple times. And her jumping off, it's like it's just, you know, there's a difference between being reckless and just being self-harming, right? And
Yeah.
jumping off this cliff without anyone else there that could like in the water already that could save you. Any of your supernatural friends nearby because it's not like she doesn't have someone who could save her.
You've got plenty of
Yeah.
mythical friends,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of it is. She might not be like in her mind on purpose suicidal, but she's definitely self-harming. The ways in which she is getting onto strange men's motorcycles because they
Hmm.
remind her of the guys that tried to assault her last year,
Hmm.
and getting motorcycles in general, like riding on them fast before you know how to stop, cliff diving. Like, good Lord,
Yeah,
girl. She's, whether she knows it or not, she's definitely participating in self-harm.
absolutely. Yeah. But this causes Alice to show up. Thank God Alice is back because we love Alice, the best character throughout the whole books, her and Charlie. And I love that Alice and Charlie are like buds. Like Charlie hates all the Cullens but Alice.
Loves Alice.
And we're like, Charlie has good taste.
Yeah. Real quick, call back to the Romeo and Juliet thing.
Yes.
Chapter 16 is called Paris,
Hmm.
where Jacob saves her from the attempt. Um, little, little
Hmm.
on the nose there.
Hmm.
We see what you're doing.
Yeah. And at one point, Bella realizes that in Romeo and Juliet, Paris dies, right? And so she's like, well, I can't let Jacob die. And I'm like, girl, don't jump off cliffs.
When have you ever cared? Like,
Yeah.
don't. Also, during the cliff diving, Harry has a heart attack.
Hmm.
And like, I I hope that made her feel more like shit. Like, I know that she talks about like, oh, bad timing, and then like kind of like, but man, like engaging in these activities to hear a voice, and Harry's out here having a heart attack. That's so sad.
Bella, I can't with Bella at all. Ah. Um, but Alice saw in her one of her visions that Bella was jumping off the cliff and assumed, rightly so, that she was trying to kill herself. Rightly so.
It
Like,
walks like that.
hmm yeah. She tells Rosalie, and Rosalie tells Edward without full context, because of course she does. Which, like, I don't fault Rosalie for that, but at the same time, she should know how like bad Edward is at just handling anything with Bella.
I don't fault Rosalie for much because I am fully a Rosalie apologist. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever done anything like intentionally wrong, like straight up wrong. There are
Hmm.
so many characters in this series that have just done some fucked up things, and I
Hmm.
don't think Rosalie's one of them. Um, However, I don't think she should have ran and told him so quick.
Or
But
call,
I
like, shouldn't have done
also,
it over the phone. Do it in person, you know?
yeah, and like, was that Rosalie's place? Rosalie isn't the closest sibling to Edward. Everybody knows Alice and Edward
Hmm.
were the closest. Like, so I don't think it was her place, but I also do think that she was coming from a good intentions.
Yeah. No, I agree. Alice realizes Bella's there and is like, Bella, we can go save Edward, but we have to leave right now. They leave right now with, all of their money, and they go on a plane to Europe because Edward has gone to the Volturi, which has been mentioned like throughout in the beginning a little bit, to ask them to kill him. So they have to go and tell them that Bella's alive, like they have to go rescue him. And the this part again, this is a new book, new vibe, this whole part, and it's also like in Twilight, the last little bit of this book goes so fast and there's so much action.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, and they get on a plane. My question is how does, unless it's a like a red eye, then I guess that's fine. But Alice is like a vampire, so on a plane, if any of those windows are open, she's gonna be sparkling. And some old man has their window open the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, because you're above the clouds. It's always sunny in a
Hmm.
plane.
Hmm.
I never thought, well, she does have like the headscarf and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess you could just cover up because they don't have those fancy like reclining seats in first class yet. But I bet once those came out, then all the vampires were right in those. Anyways,
I do love that Bella makes it a point to mention that the reason why she has her passport is because Renee and Phil were going to get married in Cancun, those crazy kids. So she had to get her passport. But okay, I I don't need you to tell me that to believe that you have a passport.
Yeah,
I think a good amount of the population has a passport ready to go.
yeah.
I believe you. It's okay.
Also, Renee getting married in Cancun is checks out. Like that is Renee behavior.
Like every chance she can get to make a snide remark on Renee is so mean. Leave her
Mhm.
alone.
Yeah. Leave her and her semi-pro baseball player husband alone.
Thank you.
But they get on a plane to go to Italy, to go to this little tiny town of Volturi, which Stephanie Meyer did not know that was a real town when she wrote this. She said that she envisioned a clock tower and she likes the name Volturi because it sounds like the Voltura, sorry, because it sounds like Volturi. And then she went on a map in Italy, on the Italy map, and then saw the town that actually exists, Volterra, and was looking around on Google Maps and saw that there's a clock tower. And she's like, wow, I had a vision.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I let me process that.
Again, on the same blog post that I've been referencing.
I need to read this blog post. That's a
I'll send it to you as soon as we're done. It's a good time. Um, but they get there, they do some Grand Theft Auto, and Bella and Alice steal a yellow Porsche. And they drive it into the city, just driving through tourists. But Alice like sweet talks the guards to letting them in at one point. Like this girlie's having a little girly trip, you know? Yeah.
What a
Um,
great time.
Bella Bella runs to the fountain and is able to get to Edward before he fully reveals himself in the sun. And he doesn't believe her. Like he thinks that he's dead.
And he says, Carlisle was right.
Uh-huh.
That's a big,
Hmm.
big thing for him to say.
Yeah. Yeah. That he could go to heaven, you know. And then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, does this Stephanie Meyer saying that if vampires were to exist, that they would go to heaven if they were good?
Because let me tell you what the Mormons definitely don't believe.
Yeah.
Because are they a predestined religion or are they like a
They're
works
a
religion?
pay, they're a pay for it.
Oh, hell yeah, pay for play. Okay.
Yeah, you
We
pay
are
the more you
rich.
pay, the bigger if you're a man, the bigger planet you get and the more amount of wives.
Just like Jesus wanted, right? How
Hmm.
could I be so
Yeah.
silly? Okay.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Did you say
But
planet? Hold on. Did you say planet?
yeah, you get your own planet.
Hmm.
And there's like there's this whole like weird like tier system of how like big your planet is and then also um like how many wives you can have and then like certain sometimes it's like it's so weird.
Imagine you have spent your whole life dedicating everything you have to the Book of Mormon and you have your planet. And then here I come with my Death Star. And that's it.
I love that.
Sorry.
That that's the funniest thing I've heard in weeks. Oh goodness. But yeah, anyways, Edward's in heaven with Bella. And I'm about to cry. And eventually him and Alice or Alice is able to like confirm with him like this is real life, like snap out of it. You know, snap out of it. Um and the whole Volturi part of this book is so interesting because yet again, here we have Stephanie Meyer waving at an interesting plot from across the street and barely addressing it.
The fact that the books that we got for the anniversaries were Life and Death and Midnight Sun and the book on like who's it, Bree Tanner, and we
Yeah.
didn't get like something on the Volturi, something on Alice, because I mean trigger warning, J.K. Rowling, but at least we got like Fantastic Beasts, like real textbooks
Hmm.
from Hogwarts as
Hmm.
actual books, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
She could have done that. Instead we got the
Yeah.
host.
Yeah. It's because like she could just like throw a dart at a dartboard of a bunch of these Volturis, and that's the one she'd write 100 pages on, and she'd make another $1 million. You know?
A book on Marcus? When I saw some that the what's it called? The festival that they're having in the city when they're there is for Saint Marcus,
Hmm.
which is Marcus of the Volturi.
Hmm.
Because instead of expelling the vampires, he just like went into hiding because he was a vampire. But like,
Yeah.
wow, amazing. A book on Arrow?
Yeah. Just make
A
it
book on
super
the Black?
historical fiction and like anything that you don't know about, make it a vampire thing like you did in Twilight, you know?
You're already really good at writing about things you don't know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you might as well run with it.
That's all we want. You have two options: stop
Stephanie,
writing and making stuff, or this.
Stephanie Meyer to my office right now. Come on. We got things to talk about.
Uh, so at the Volturi, like it's so weird that the most interesting stuff of this book is like at the very end, and it's so rushed. But like we meet all these really crazy vampires with like deadly powers, like Jane just touching someone and giving them crazy pain.
Felix and
Yeah.
Dimitri, the like
Mhm.
blacking out of vision, like these are the best of the best and the scariest vampires you can think of with the scariest abilities. That's why they've been recruited, and
Hmm.
we get nothing.
Hmm. Yeah, we get nothing. We finally get to see the X-Men, and they're like, nah, what if we just talk to regular humans more? And I was like, but I want the X-Men. Why? Um, they really want Edward and Alice to join them because of their powers, and they're also so intrigued about Bella not being able to hear Edward's thoughts. And they're like, she's gonna make a great vampire, turn her, and then maybe all of you guys can join, or we'll kill you guys.
Yeah, they knew she was going to be a shield.
Hmm.
They clocked her being a shield so quickly.
Hmm. Yeah, and so they're able to get out at the skin of their teeth. Edward does, have some pain, but they are able to escape eventually. And Alice has shown them her possible future of Bella becoming a vampire, like one of the paths. And at this point, Edward is still like very anti Bella become a vampire. It's, the whole, the ending of this book it's just so weird because this issue was an issue since the beginning of Twilight, and it's still not solved in this book. Like, it's a conversation, is how they solve it, and it's not even solved.
All because he thinks he's not going to go to heaven.
Hmm.
However, he just confirmed that there's a part of him that thinks he can go to heaven.
Yep. Hmm. They end up deciding that after she graduates, right, is when he'll turn her,
Um, I
or
think
after they
they
get,
decided that Carlisle was going to turn her because then that's when he was like, I have a condition if you want me to do it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Because they vote. Because, nothing says cult like everyone voting on whether someone can do something with their own body.
Nothing, nothing says cult like taking it to a vote if somebody's going to live or die.
Hmm. Yeah.
Love that.
Hmm.
And also, mind you, not once is she thinking of Charlie.
Hmm. And I'm pretty sure once, like in Eclipse or closer to Breaking Dawn, I think she has to be reminded about Charlie and Renee's reactions, I think, eventually.
Like, I know that both of them were somewhat absent in their own ways, but like, they weren't terrible parents to you. You can at least think of them when you're considering
Hmm.
becoming immortal.
Hmm. They make up and they're like discussing why he left her and how much he actually loves her, and that he's like, I'm a good liar, but not that good of a liar, so I had to make sure there was nothing left of me here. Like just his like manipulative covering up of his shitty actions. Um, But as they're kissing, this is on page 512, Bella is describing, and she says, um, his mouth was on mine then, and I couldn't fight him. Not because he was so many thousand times stronger than me, but because my will crumbled into dust the second our lips met. That's not good.
Maybe I'm kissing the wrong people. But never has that been my experience
Yeah. I mean, I guess you never kissed a vampire
that I know of.
that you know of.
That I know of. Yeah.
It's just, I, they are so bad for each other and to everyone in their lives. It's just, I don't understand how the world fell in love with these books.
And then like later down that page, he says, by the way, he said in a casual tone, I'm not leaving you. Put that with the fact that he's like, right before that, he's like, yeah, I lied, but you believed me. Like, so it's your fault. You believed me. How could you believe me? Like, sorry for trusting my partner.
Hmm.
And then for him to just be like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere, not without you. Okay, you'd have to leave my room.
Yeah. Yeah. I need alone time. I need to be by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Edward says 1 year after graduation and getting married. But then in the epilogue, Jacob reminds Bella that the treaty gets broken if there's one bite from a human. So Bella puts it together that, oh, if I get changed, then this whole treaty is broken. And what
Yeah.
main character energy to be like taking that pressure into your hands on purpose?
And because she even says, well, what if it's my choice?
Hmm.
He's like, it doesn't matter. The treaty clearly says. Um, she just truly cannot think about anything besides herself and Edward.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then she's
But
upset that like Jake doesn't want to talk to her and like, duh.
there's thousands of years of cultural context of why he doesn't want to talk to him. Duh. And also your personal context.
And then 5:55, they're at the top. They fight. Paris falls. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, that's enough of that, girl.
Great. Love that. And that's kind of how the book ends, which is, she's still not a vampire. They barely have solved the issue of Edward not wanting to change her. She still has to graduate high school. And now there's werewolves.
And now there's werewolves and a treaty in the
Victoria's
sky.
still around. Like, the only thing this book solves is Edward and Bella coming back together. But that also was caused in the beginning of the same, you know what I mean? Like, there's in the greater plot of this whole series, nothing gets solved.
No, I think it just sets up the love triangle and it
Yeah.
sets up the spicy parts of Eclipse for sure.
Yeah. It's just, this book is just a connector from Twilight to Eclipse and Breaking Dawn, you know, and it's
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
painful.
divorce. You remember
Hmm.
how last on Twilight we did the Cullens as albums, Taylor Swift
Yeah.
albums?
Yeah.
Can we do the tribe?
Okay. Okay. Seth, I think, is soft boy. I think he's lover or speak now.
I would say speak now.
Hmm.
Um, can we include Emily in this?
Yes.
Because she gives me debut.
Yeah.
Very like trad wife.
Hmm.
Okay, so Seth is speak now.
Hmm.
Emily is debut. I think it's obvious what Leah is.
Well, we don't know her much in this book, and
Well,
it's
no,
been
should we
so
do Leah? Because
long
she's not in a
because I can't remember
okay,
her
we'll do
beyond the
Leah.
movie.
Okay, we'll do Leah and Breaking Dawn
Okay.
because that's reputation. We've got Jacob.
Hmm.
Jacob, I feel like he can go on a lot of these,
I think
truly.
red because he's like
I
so
was
head over
gonna say
heels.
red.
Yeah.
I was gonna say read, especially because of All Too Well 10-minute version.
Yes,
Um,
that is Jacob's
I
song.
can for sure see him. There is also, because he is described as rusted,
Hmm.
Quill is what's like a bold, confident, because he's the one that's like, I'm Quill Terra, you know?
Fearless.
Oh my God, yes, fearless. Okay, Quill is fearless.
What about Sam?
I think Sam might have to be reputation for this one.
I think so in this specific book.
Yeah, because he's kind of like
He goes for
holding
like
it
the
down.
cult.
He's very,
He's labeled as the cult leader.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Paul.
And then Paul, we already did speak now.
I think Paul has Speak Now vibes as well. I think
I
both him
can
and
see
Seth do.
Paul. Yeah, because they're kind of cute and just there.
Hmm.
Where is okay? And then are those the only werewolves we have in this book?
That's that's all we
Oh,
have in this
Embry?
one. Oh,
Yeah, I
Embry.
feel like
Do we have
all
him?
yeah, he's in this book. Quill and Embry are the ones that come hang out with him.
Oh yeah,
Is Embry the one taking his cousin to prom?
I
I
think so.
think Embry's taking his cousin to prom. That unfortunately gives me tortured poets department
Yeah.
vibes because it's so high school.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Embry is
Oh boy.
gonna be tortured poets.
Yeah. I'm happy with those. And I think they change in Eclipse.
They do. We'll have to revisit that.
Yes.
I think they're still
Yes.
pretty similar for the Cullens for this book, but in Eclipse, I think it's going to change for the tribe and for the Cullens.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and the colons are the same in this book just because they're barely in this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, 3 out of 10.
The book, 3 out of 10.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I give it 1 star on Goodreads out of 5. Yeah. I
It's just not doing it for me. There's a reason I never reach for this for a reread. There's a
hmm
reason it's been 15 years since I've reread it. I was right when I was 14. I'm right now. Also, real quick, they did say at the beginning that typically women don't start freaking out about their age until they're 29. And as a 29-year-old woman, I don't appreciate that commentary.
I didn't start freaking out my about my age still.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
That's again, I don't understand Bella's big deal. Like, I'm
Yeah.
smarter now. I don't want to be 18.
Um, in the acknowledgments, it's a funny read, but at the bottom, she of course particularly thanks Muse. There are emotions, scenes, and plot threads in this novel that were born from Muse songs and would never exist without their genius. But then she also shouts out Linkin Park, Travis, Elbow, Coldplay, Marjorie Fair, My Chemical Romance, Brand New, The Strokes, Armor for Sleep, The Arcade Fire, and The Fray.
The Fray is shocking.
Hmm.
Lincoln Park, I get. Did we talk about in the first episode that the CD Phil gives Bella is canonically the Lincoln Park Hybrid Theory album?
We did not talk about that.
Yeah, I've been doing some research on that, where she's like, it's too loud for me.
Yeah,
Hence, Hybrid Theory.
that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this book, I mean, other fun facts, I don't really have that many fun facts that I didn't already talk about from that infamous blog post. Gotta read it, link below. The other stuff I have is that Jacob and Paul are named after Stephanie Meyer's brothers, Seth is named after her son, and then Heidi and Emily are named after her sisters.
She's got more than one son, correct?
Hmm. Yeah,
Only
but
one got a character.
so far, yeah. Well, because she was gonna
Stephanie
name her
Meyer.
one of her sons Edward, but then she didn't ever have another son after whatever son she had.
Who are her sons? Her other children, I want to know how they feel about that.
Hmm. I mean, I don't think they can
Children,
feel
hold on,
too
let me see.
bad.
She's got Seth, Gabe, and there's two other children. They didn't get names.
Seth, Gabe, and who else?
Eli.
Eli. I mean, I don't think they can feel too bad about not being named in these books because they get to have generational wealth,
That's true.
you know?
That is true. And
Also,
then
I feel
Seth
like,
has to be the one that's like tied to this.
yeah, I feel like of all of them, I think Seth probably feels wishes his name wasn't in the books, you know?
Oh yeah, uncles. I'm on Seth Meyer's wiki page, and his uncles are Jacob, Paul, and Seth Morgan.
Hmm.
So I guess we're just keeping it all in there. Interesting, very interesting, very
Yeah.
incestuous. Couldn't be a
Hmm.
Mormon.
No, never. Yeah, thanks for recording this with me. Sorry it took so long to read it, but also wasn't my fault. This book was bad. Um,
Hi. You're good. I can't wait
anyways,
for the movie. I'm
I'm
so excited for the
I'm so excited to read or not read it. I'm so excited to watch the movie. I'm so excited. And I now own all of them on DVD finally.
Yay!
Yeah. I've been going into the Goodwills, trying to find them all. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Read the Book First Podcast. Schedules for future episodes will be on there. We also have a Patreon now. That's linked below. Make sure you rate us 5 stars. If it's not 5 stars, don't worry about it. And remember, read the book first.